The holiday season has a way of making us crave warmth and beauty, especially when the days grow shorter and that first hint of winter settles in. But the truth is, creating a home that feels elegant during Christmas doesn't require a designer budget at all. What it really takes is intention. I once visited an older neighbor whose home felt like a charming boutique hotel every December. Yet she swore she never spent more than a few small purchases each year. Her secret was focusing on small touches that changed the mood of a room rather than the entire room itself. And one of the easiest places to begin is with something simple that most of us already have: a mirror. When you frame a mirror with a soft strand of faux pine, whether it's wrapped gently around a round frame or attached discreetly with clear hooks, it stops being just a mirror. It becomes a window into the season. The gentle greenery creates the feeling of stepping into a quiet winter cafe, the kind where the windows fog slightly from warm pastries and the soft glow of morning light. That one shift adds intention, warmth, and an inviting sense of arrival the moment someone walks into your home. There is something almost magical about the way a single thoughtful decoration can transform a corner of your home, especially during the holidays. A mirror, for instance, may seem like a purely functional piece, but in December, it can become a storyteller. The frame becomes the stage, the reflection becomes part of the scene, and the greenery wrapped around it becomes a soft whisper of the season. When you add a strand of faux pine to a round or rectangular mirror, you're not just decorating, you're creating a moment. That touch of evergreen draws the eye, instantly softening harsh lines and giving the space a gentle sense of warmth. The room begins to feel like it belongs in an old-fashioned winter cafe, the kind tucked on a quiet, snowy street where people linger over their morning coffee. You don't need anything complicated to make this work either. A few clear hooks placed behind the frame hold the garland exactly where you want it, which is especially helpful if your mirror has a smooth or shallow edge. Once it's up, you may notice something interesting. The mirror doesn't just look festive. The room around it begins to feel more intentional, almost curated. A friend of mine once tried this idea in her small dining nook. She had always believed her home was too modest to feel fancy during the holidays. But when she wrapped her mirror in greenery, everything changed. The soft pine reflected in the glass the glow of her tiny table lamp. Even the quiet morning light bouncing around the room. All of it created a richer, more welcoming atmosphere. She told me later that the mirror became her favorite part of the house, not because it was expensive, but because it made her feel proud of her space. And that's the beauty of a small upgrade. It doesn't just change how a room looks. It changes how you feel in it. Once you've added that first touch of Christmas greenery, the next step is creating warmth, the kind of warmth you don't just see but feel the moment you walk into the room. One of the easiest ways to do this, especially in the living room, is by adding a faux fur throw. Now, this might sound simple, but the impact is surprisingly dramatic. A soft plush throw instantly elevates a space, because texture is one of the most powerful tools in decorating. When the days get shorter and the evenings come earlier, small details like this begin to matter even more. A faux fur blanket draped casually over the arm of your sofa catches the low golden light of a lamp, turning a regular seating area into something that feels cozy and a bit luxurious. Textures, especially layered textures, are what separate a warm, welcoming home from a space that feels flat or unfinished. I remember visiting a retired teacher who lived down the street. Her home was not large, but every winter it felt like a retreat. She always kept a faux fur throw on her couch, not because she wanted anything fancy, but because she said it reminded her of the warmth she felt during childhood winters. When I sat down, I understood immediately. The softness, the weight, the comfort it brought. It was like being wrapped in a memory. And that's the heart of this upgrade. When you choose a faux fur throw in a soft, neutral color cream warm gray, or even a muted brown, it blends effortlessly with any decor style while still adding that elevated touch. Pair it with the glow of a warm lamp, and suddenly your living room doesn't just look better. It becomes a place where you want to slow down, sip tea, and savor the quiet moments of the season. The right throw doesn't just warm your body. It warms the entire mood of your home. After adding warmth with a soft throw, the next step in creating a refined holiday atmosphere is refreshing your pillows. Fortunately, making your couch look thoughtfully styled doesn't require purchasing a whole new set every season. In fact, one of the smartest decorating habits is investing in pillow covers rather than pillows themselves. A good cover can completely transform the feel of a room. Think of it as giving your couch a seasonal wardrobe, one that reflects the textures and colors of the holidays without overwhelming the space. The beauty of using pillow covers is how easily you can experiment. Try combining a chunky knit cover with something smoother like faux wool or velvet. Those contrasting textures create depth, giving the room a collected designer feel. I once helped an older family friend redecorate her small apartment for Christmas. She was convinced her space was too tiny to feel festive without becoming cluttered. But when we simply swapped out her everyday pillow covers for a mix of deep green velvet and cream-colored knit, and the entire room shifted. Suddenly, her couch looked intentional and wintry without feeling busy. She told me it reminded her of the cozy cabins she used to visit during ski trips in her 20s. Color also plays a role in how upscale the space feels. Rich tones like burgundy forest green, warm ivory, and soft gold hint at Christmas without appearing overly themed. Subtle patterns like herringbone cable knit or minimal plaid add personality while staying timeless. The key is balance. When you pair a soft faux fur cover with a structured wool one, you get a look that is both cozy and elevated. By choosing just 2 or 3 covers that work harmoniously together, your sofa becomes the kind of space that invites people to sit, sip hot chocolate, and enjoy the glow of the season. Small changes like these remind you that luxury doesn't always come from buying more. It often comes from choosing thoughtfully. Once your textures and pillows begin setting the tone of the season, it's time to add one of the easiest and most surprisingly elegant decorating tools, velvet ribbon. Velvet has a way of quietly commanding attention. It's soft, rich, and instantly associated with luxury, yet a single roll is incredibly affordable. What makes velvet ribbon so special isn't just how it looks, but how versatile it is. You can use it in ways that feel subtle or bold, depending on the mood you want to create. Imagine tying a simple velvet bow onto the base of a wall sconce. The soft fabric absorbs the light, creating a warm shadow that feels dramatic in the most understated way. Or picture taking the same ribbon and weaving it loosely through a garland along your entryway. Suddenly, what was once a simple string of greenery begins to feel like something you'd find in a historic inn decorated for Christmas. I once watched a friend redo her entire living room using nothing more than a few yards of burgundy velvet ribbon. She tied small bows onto her bookshelf handles, added a longer strip to her mantel garland, and even wrapped a bit around a simple glass vase. Each touch was tiny, almost forgettable on its own. But together, the room looked cohesive, intentional, and surprisingly high-end. What makes ribbon so powerful is repetition. When you use the same color throughout your home, whether it's deep green caramel brown or classic cranberry, it subtly pulls every space together. Instead of your decor feeling like separate pieces collected over time, it begins to feel like a story. A gentle thread of color connects each room, guiding your eye from one cozy moment to the next. Velvet ribbon also allows you to experiment without commitment. No nails, no heavy decor. No complicated setups, just small touches that elevate everything they're tied to. It's a reminder that sometimes beauty comes from restraint, not excess. As your holiday decor begins to take shape, there is one element that ties everything together more powerfully than any ribbon or garland ever could. Warm lighting. Light sets the emotional tone of a home. It determines whether a space feels inviting or stark cozy or cold. During the winter months, when the sun slips away early and evenings stretch long, the right lighting becomes a kind of gentle companion. Creating what I like to call warm lighting pockets can completely transform the mood of your home without requiring major changes. Think beyond your usual lamps. Try placing a small, soft glow light on your kitchen counter or inside a corner you rarely pay attention to. These unexpected pools of golden light add layers to your home, creating depth and comfort. I once visited a friend who lived in a charming but dimly lit cottage. She had always struggled to make her living spaces feel lively in the winter, until she added a tiny battery-powered lamp to a shelf near her kitchen. It didn't seem significant at first, but when she turned it on that evening, the difference was striking. The warm glow filled the room, softly bouncing off the nearby greenery and transforming the cottage into a sanctuary. Battery-operated lamps and candles are especially useful because they allow you to place warmth exactly where it's needed without worrying about outlets or messy cords. Some of the best ones mimic the flicker of real candlelight, creating a calming, almost nostalgic atmosphere. When placed near a reflective surface like a mirror or a glass vase, the glow doubles, making the entire corner feel intentional and high-end. The beauty of warm lighting is that it doesn't demand perfection. Even if your home feels a little messy, the soft, golden glow smooths out the edges, offering comfort instead of highlighting flaws. It's a quiet reminder that creating a cozy home is more about feeling than form. With the lighting settled and your home glowing softly, it's time to focus on the centerpiece, one of the most underestimated elements of holiday decorating. A well-styled centerpiece doesn't just fill space, it anchors the entire room, giving your eyes a comfortable place to rest. And the beauty of it is that you don't need an expensive floral arrangement or a professional designer to get a high-end look. In fact, the most charming centerpieces often come from humble beginnings: a wooden tray, a thrifted vase, a few stems of greenery, and a small decorative accent. Start with a simple wooden tray. It adds warmth and helps everything look contained rather than scattered. Then choose a vase, something with personality, perhaps a handmade ceramic piece you found at a thrift store or estate sale. There's something special about a vase with a bit of history. One of my friends found a slightly chipped pottery vase at a flea market years ago, and despite its imperfections, it became her favorite holiday piece because it reminded her of the artisan who crafted it. Next, place a few faux branches inside the vase. Norfolk pine stems work beautifully because their needles drape softly, instantly giving the arrangement movement and life. Spend a moment bending the branches outward, upward, and slightly downward to make them look natural rather than stiff. To finish the look, tie a small velvet ribbon around the neck of the vase. The softness of the ribbon adds a gentle contrast to the rustic wood and textured greenery. Then, add a few brass bells beside the vase or tucked into the tray. Brass catches warm light in a way that feels both festive and timeless. What you end up with is a centerpiece that looks curated, minimal, and beautifully intentional, proof that elegance doesn't come from complexity, but from thoughtful arrangement. One of the most charming and surprisingly effective holiday upgrades is also one of the simplest, beautifully wrapped boxes. Most people wait until the last minute to wrap gifts, piling them under the tree in a hurried rush. But if you think of gift wrapping as decor rather than a chore, those boxes become elegant accents that instantly elevate your home. And the best part, they don't even need to be actual presents. A few empty boxes wrapped with intention can look just as lovely as the real thing. Start with sturdy boxes, the kind you probably already have tucked away from online orders. Instead of using traditional shiny gift wrap, try covering them in neutral materials like linen fabric craft paper or soft muslin. These textures feel timeless and pair beautifully with natural holiday decor. Once the box is wrapped, add a ribbon in a warm color champagne gold, copper, deep green, or cranberry. The ribbon doesn't have to be extravagant. A simple velvet or satin strip tied into a loose bow adds understated elegance. I once helped a family friend stage her entryway for a holiday gathering. She felt the space was too plain and didn't know what to add without cluttering it. We wrapped 2 small boxes in oatmeal-colored fabric, tied them with gold ribbon, and placed them on her console table next to a small evergreen sprig. The effect was instant. The boxes added height, texture, and warmth, all without shouting Christmas decor. Her guests commented on them all night, assuming they were fancy boutique packages. That's the secret when styled, thoughtfully wrapped boxes make your home feel curated and luxurious, even when they cost almost nothing. Scatter them in your entryway, on a bookshelf, or near your mantel, and you'll find they bring a sense of quiet celebration to every corner. One space that often gets overlooked during holiday decorating is the bathroom. Yet, giving it a little seasonal attention can make your entire home feel more cohesive and thoughtfully styled. Bathrooms are small, which means even the tiniest details have a noticeable impact. A few well-placed pieces can turn an ordinary room into a surprisingly cozy retreat, something guests always notice even if they don't mention it aloud. Start with something playful like a miniature Christmas village on a shelf. Tiny houses with soft lighting instantly create a sense of nostalgia. They remind many people of the whimsical holiday displays seen in childhood little ceramic homes glowing gently in dim rooms. Just a couple of pieces are enough to set the tone. Above the mirror, consider adding a small swag of greenery. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Even a thin strand of faux pine or eucalyptus can add softness and a touch of nature to the space. Functional items can also carry the holiday spirit. Swap out your everyday hand towel for one in a festive deep red or soft forest green, and choose a seasonal soap dispenser to tie the palette together. These simple switches take moments, but create a sense of intention and care. A friend once told me that she always changes her bathroom decor first, because it's the room guests use most often. When people step in and see a thoughtful holiday detail, she says it makes them feel welcomed and appreciated. To finish, add a small holiday nightlight. Something as simple as a tiny Christmas tree or warm amber glow automatically makes evenings feel cozier. It's a gentle, comforting reminder that even the most functional corners of the home deserve a touch of magic during the season. A bathroom may not be the heart of your home, but when decorated with small intentional touches, it becomes part of the larger holiday story you're creating. If there is one upgrade that effortlessly brings joy to both adults and children during the holiday season, it's creating a festive drink station. A small coffee bar or even a simple kitchen corner can become a magical little destination with just a few thoughtful touches. What makes this idea so delightful is the way it transforms an everyday routine into a seasonal ritual. Suddenly, the act of making morning coffee or an after-school cup of cocoa becomes something warm, nostalgic, and deeply comforting. Start by clearing a small section of your counter or shelving. Add a strand of soft fairy lights to create an inviting glow. These tiny lights have a way of turning any ordinary corner into a cozy moment. Next, bring in a bit of greenery. A small garland or even a sprig of faux pine laid gently along the back adds depth and seasonal charm without overwhelming the space. This is also the perfect place to display festive treats: peppermint sticks, marshmallows, cinnamon sticks, cookies, or little jars filled with hot chocolate mix. Not only do they look beautiful, but they also make it easy for family members and guests to help themselves. I once knew a grandmother who would prepare her cocoa station a full week before Christmas because her grandchildren adored it so much. Every afternoon, they would come in from the cold, drop their school bags, and run straight to the little station she decorated with twinkling lights and tiny mugs. She told me those were her favorite moments of the season. To finish the look, incorporate small, seasonal art pieces, maybe a framed print of a winter scene or a simple festive quote. These touches make the space feel intentional, not cluttered. When all the elements come together, the soft lights, the greenery, the treats, the warm drinks, you create a corner of pure holiday comfort. It becomes a place that invites people to slow down, sip something warm, and savor the season just a little longer. Holiday gatherings often call for something special, something that feels festive without requiring hours in the kitchen. That's where the idea of a Christmas charcuterie wreath truly shines. It's one of those rare creations that looks impressively elegant, yet is delightfully simple to put together. At its heart, the wreath is nothing more than a round arrangement of herbs and snacks, but visually, it becomes a centerpiece, worthy of a winter celebration. Start with a large round board or tray. Lay sprigs of fresh rosemary in a circular shape, allowing some pieces to curve naturally, while others extend slightly outward. Rosemary is perfect for this because its deep green needles mimic the look of pine, instantly giving the wreath a seasonal feel. Once your base is in place, begin nestling small clusters of cheese cubes, crackers, olives, or berries around the greenery. Think of it as decorating a real wreath. The key is to vary the textures and colors so your eye dances around the arrangement. One of my favorite additions is a simple salami rose. It might sound complicated, but it only takes a minute. Fold thin slices over the rim of a small cup, layer them until they resemble petals, then turn the whole thing upside down onto the board. The result is a beautiful blooming shape that adds sophistication without effort. I remember a family friend serving a similar wreath at a holiday open house years ago. Guests were so mesmerized by its beauty that they hesitated to eat it at first. But once the first person took a cracker, the entire wreath became a gathering point. People talking, laughing, reaching for snacks while complimenting how fancy it looked. That's the charm of a charcuterie wreath. It's more than food. It's an experience. It invites people to gather, share, and enjoy. And the best part, it looks like something catered, yet costs far less and carries far more heart. Windows often go unnoticed during holiday decorating. Yet, they are one of the most powerful places to add a touch of Christmas charm. They act like picture frames to the world outside, and with just a little effort, you can make them feel warm and elegant from both inside and out. One of the easiest ways to do this is with a simple holiday swag, an arrangement of mixed greenery draped gracefully above the window frame. It's a small detail that instantly elevates a room, making it feel decorated with intention rather than excess. Start with a blend of faux pine cedar and eucalyptus branches. Mixing greens creates a more natural-looking arrangement, giving the swag depth and movement. Allow some pieces to hang downward, while others sweep gently to the side. Once you have the base, add one or two small embellishments, a velvet ribbon tied loosely in the center, or a pair of small brass bells that give off a soft chime when the window is opened. These additions bring quiet sophistication without overwhelming the space. I once visited a couple who decorated their cottage windows with nothing more than greenery and a single deep red ribbon. Their home was small and simple, but those window swags transformed everything. From the inside, the greenery softened the light, giving the room a gentle glow. From the outside, The swags made the cottage look like something from a vintage postcard, inviting, warm, and timeless. They told me later that neighbors often stopped to compliment the windows, assuming the decorations were professionally installed. That's the beauty of window swags. They create a sense of story. When light filters through the greenery in the morning, or when the swag casts soft shadows at night, it adds layers of atmosphere you can't achieve with store-bought decorations alone. It's a quiet, elegant upgrade that brings holiday charm without cluttering your space. A mantle may be one of the most prominent surfaces in your home during the holidays, but many people aren't quite sure how to style it without making it feel cluttered or chaotic. The secret lies in layering height. When you mix tall items with shorter ones and textured pieces with smooth accents, you create a balanced arrangement that looks thoughtful and effortlessly sophisticated. Instead of lining decorations in a straight row, think of the mantle as a landscape, a small stage where objects create movement, rhythm, and warmth. Begin with a few tall pieces such as taper candles in brass holders or slim ceramic trees. These vertical elements draw the eye upward and give your mantle its initial structure. Next, add medium-height items like framed winter art or a small cluster of bottle brush trees. Overlapping the edges of frames or placing items slightly in front of each other creates depth, making the arrangement look richer and more dimensional. Lower elements, such as small votive candles, pine cones, or miniature ornaments, can fill in the remaining spaces. A soft strand of garland, either real or faux, helps anchor everything visually. Let it drape gently across the mantle, tucking it behind or around some of the taller items. This creates the feeling that the decor naturally belongs there, rather than being placed stiffly on top. A woman I once helped decorate had always felt intimidated by her long mantle. She said every attempt looked messy. But when we simply arranged her existing pieces by height, tall candlesticks at one end, a medium framed print in the middle, and a cluster of smaller trees near the other side, the whole mantle transformed. The layering made the space feel cozy, curated, and expensive without adding a single new item. That's the magic of height. Layering it brings harmony and elegance, turning the mantle into a soft, inviting focal point of the room. Your entryway is the first space people see when they step into your home, yet it's often the last place we think about decorating for the holidays. A thoughtful entryway doesn't need to be elaborate or filled with decor. Instead, small intentional touches can create a welcoming atmosphere that feels both festive and refined. Think of the entry as the warm handshake of your home, a space that sets the tone for everything that follows. Start with something functional but charming, such as a seasonal doormat. Choose one in a simple winter pattern or a soft neutral color. It instantly signals the cozy season without overwhelming the senses. Just inside the door, place a small potted evergreen or mini tabletop tree. Whether it's real or faux, the touch of green breathes life into the space and pairs beautifully with hardwood floors or painted walls. Artwork can also play a role here. A framed winter print, perhaps, something depicting a snowy landscape or a vintage holiday sketch adds personality and sophistication. You don't need an expensive piece. Even a printable image in a simple frame can elevate the atmosphere. I once visited a retired couple who displayed a black and white winter cabin print in their foyer every December. It wasn't costly, but guests always commented on how peaceful it felt. For texture, consider adding a woven basket for scarves or gloves, or a small bowl with pine cones for a natural touch. If you want a bit of sparkle, tuck a short strand of battery-operated fairy lights around the base of the evergreen. It creates a soft glow that feels magical in the evenings. These simple details work together to create an entryway that feels curated, calm, and gently festive. And the beauty is that none of it requires much effort, just thoughtful layering that welcomes everyone who crosses your threshold. The kitchen is often the heart of the home, especially during the holidays. Yet, it's easy to overlook when decorating. Many people assume that because the kitchen is a busy, practical space, it shouldn't hold much seasonal decor. But the truth is, adding just a few thoughtful touches can make your kitchen feel warm and festive without sacrificing functionality. The key is to blend beauty with usefulness decorating in a way that enhances the space rather than crowds it. Start with your open shelves or countertops. A wooden cutting board leaned casually against the backsplash instantly adds warmth and texture. Layer in a second board of a different shape or shade to create dimension. Next, bring out your seasonal mugs, perhaps ones with subtle winter patterns or rich, cozy colors. Displaying them on a small tray or grouping them together makes the space feel intentional rather than random. Glass jars filled with cinnamon sticks, cocoa powder, or even simple holiday candies can double as decor and everyday necessities. Their natural colors and textures add quiet charm without feeling overly themed. I remember visiting a family member who kept a jar of dried orange slices on her kitchen shelf every December. Not only did it look beautiful, but the bright orange added a cheerful pop of color to her otherwise neutral kitchen. A small piece of greenery can also make a big difference. A tiny potted pine, a sprig of eucalyptus in a thrifted vase, or even a mini wreath hung from a cabinet door adds softness and ties the kitchen visually to the rest of your holiday decor. And for a touch of evening magic, tuck a short strand of warm fairy lights around a tray or behind your jars. When arranged with care, these simple elements make your kitchen feel like a cozy winter workshop, inviting warm and full of quiet, seasonal charm. One of the most beautiful ways to make your home feel elevated during the holidays is by bringing in natural elements. Nature has a quiet elegance that no store-bought decor can fully replicate. When you incorporate items like dried orange slices, cinnamon sticks, pine cones, fresh greenery, or even small apples and berries, you create a sense of warmth that feels both luxurious and deeply comforting. These pieces speak to something timeless, memories of holiday kitchens, winter walks, and the simple beauty of the season. Start with dried citrus. Their translucent slices glow when placed near soft lighting, and their warm colors bring a gentle brightness to wreaths, garlands, or even a simple bowl on your dining table. Add cinnamon sticks tied with a bit of twine for a rustic touch. Their warm scent fills the air and instantly evokes cozy winter memories. Pine cones are another wonderful addition. They're free textural and endlessly versatile. Scatter them across a mantel, place them in a wooden bowl, or tuck them into a centerpiece. Their earthy tones add depth without demanding attention. Small fruits like crab apples or fresh cranberries can also become decor. Their rich reds stand out beautifully against evergreen branches. I once visited an older neighbor who decorated her kitchen window with nothing more than a few sprigs of pine and a handful of cranberries floating in a clear vase of water. The display was unbelievably simple, yet it looked more elegant than many expensive store-bought decorations. The magic of natural elements lies in how organic and effortless they feel. They don't try too hard. They simply enhance what's already there. When layered thoughtfully, perhaps a bowl of oranges beside a cluster of pine cones, or a garland accented with cinnamon and bay leaves, they bring an understated sophistication to your home. It's a reminder that luxury doesn't always come from sparkle or shine. Sometimes it comes from the beauty of nature itself. As we step back and look at how each of these simple touches works together, a clear picture begins to emerge. Creating a beautiful holiday home doesn't require extravagant spending or complicated design plans. Instead, it's about layering small, thoughtful choices that build warmth, intention, and personality into every room. When greenery softens your windows, when a velvet ribbon adds quiet elegance to a garland, when a cozy throw invites you to rest, your home slowly transforms into a space that feels loved and lived in, a place where the season feels meaningful rather than overwhelming. One thing I've learned over the years is that decorating isn't really about impressing people. It's about creating moments. The gentle glow from a battery-powered lamp on a dark winter evening. The soft rustle of pine as you pass a doorway. The way a hot chocolate station delights kids and adults alike. These moments stitch themselves into your memory. They make December feel softer, slower, and more connected. A woman I know once said that her favorite holiday decorations were never the expensive ones. They were the small pieces that reminded her of family gatherings, quiet mornings, and the feeling of belonging. If there's one lesson to take from these ideas, it's that your home doesn't need perfection to feel beautiful. It simply needs care. Choose one or two upgrades that genuinely bring you joy, whether it's wrapping a few decorative boxes or adding a tiny Christmas nightlight to the bathroom. Every small detail adds up, creating a home that reflects warmth rather than stress. And as you begin decorating this year, give yourself permission to enjoy the process. Celebrate the simple moments, the cozy corners, the soft lights. Those are the things people remember most. Those are the things that make your home feel truly special during the holidays.